Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to D News Plus again today. I am Trace, and this week we're talking about the paranormal and what it even is and what research into it is going to look like and how science can actually look into the paranormal. Like, doesn't it defy scientific logic? Of course, there are times that has happened, so we're going to talk about that. And of course, why we should even care about paranormal research and keeping an open mind in general. So stick around, make sure you subscribe for all of these episodes. You can find us over on iTunes as well if you want them all squished into one. And let's kick into this. So, no matter whether you believe in the paranormal or not, it's something that a lot of people have taken really, really seriously. I mean, it's something that people have invested a lot of money into and studied very closely, and most famously, of course, would be the military. The military has been studying paranormal research for a long, long time. The US government has done some very famous paranormal research in the military. The Department of Defense alone has multiple studies into something called remote viewing, which is a fancy term for ESP, extrasensory perception. And they want to be able to identify a location from far away just using their brains. Who needs spy satellites, am I right? The official government definition of this is the name of a method of psychoenergetic perception, the acquisition and description by mental means of information blocked from ordinary perception by distance shielding or time. They obfuscated the crap out of that, didn't they? And its origins were in response to the gaining of intelligence. If you're talking about it in terms of the Department of Defense, that makes a lot of sense, right? They want to be able to get as much intelligence as possible, and they're going to go through any means necessary to try and get that. The Soviet Union was doing psychic research about the same time during the Cold War, but we're going to come back to that. Studies in this area of remote viewing had names that were just the best. Things like Project Stargate, great show, Project Sunstreak, Project Grill Flame, which kind of sounds like a suburban steakhouse. There's a movie called The Men Who Stared at Goats that is all about these kind of remote viewing and paranormal research programs. Although the part about killing the animals with the mind, that was not real. Anyway, they dealt with the use of psychoenergetics, and they were trying to collect this intelligence by studying telepathy, remote viewing, ESP, and this is all real. Like, it sounds like the plot of a movie, but it is real. The Freedom of Information Act allows you to go and look up the actual documents from this. So you can do that. Go look at them. They're all online. So the early studies in this area were conducted by the Stanford Research Institute right here in the Bay Area, which caught the eye of the US government, specifically the DIA and the CIA. And then over multiple decades, they spent tens of millions of dollars recruiting gifted people to try and get them to see places with their brains that were elsewhere on the planet. When people were training in this, they needed to get a 65% accuracy in order to be considered successful. In the early 1980s, though, they decided that maybe the gifted people weren't the only ones who could do it, so they could maybe train regular people like you and me to do this. And sometimes it would actually work. How this works is they would have a session where the viewer would get down, the remote viewer would, lay on a couch or sit at a chair or something, and they would attempt to acquire and describe a designated site somewhere on Earth or in another country by mental means only. And they would start with really easy stuff, just kind of the feelings or, smells or something of a location. So stage one, you'd be looking at very generic places like an island or a mountain or a desert or something like that. But there are 6 different levels. So stage 6, you progress through all these, and you're looking for airplanes inside of camouflaged hangars somewhere in Soviet Russia with your brain. Anyway, some that were tested were able to actually correctly identify within several miles Soviet nuclear testing areas, downed Soviet bombers. Actually, they did that, and it worked from an army base here in the US. But the conclusion of all these experiments were overall, gifted remote viewers did not help the government or the military at all because, to be honest, it didn't work. Surprise, surprise. Sorry, everybody. But either way, between the 1970s and the 1990s, the US government tried to get psychics to help the military, which is just pretty great. Your tax dollars at work, everybody. And the US did other paranormal stuff as well. In the 1940s, they supposedly experimented with teleportation, which is now referred to as the Philadelphia experiment. It's very famous. And they tried to send a Navy ship back in time Maybe they succeeded. No, it's generally considered a myth that it actually worked. There were failed experiments as well using invisibility cloaks and trying to cloak ships from the shore. And they had something called Project Sign, which was a government-led UFO research setup under the US Air Force. But it wasn't just the United States doing all of this amazing work. The Soviet Union was also doing this. So we were trying during the Cold War to just keep up with them. And the US was afraid that this was happening because the Soviet Union had been doing it since the 1920s. And they called it biological communication. They wanted to communicate from ship to shore or back and forth without having to use radios and electronic equipment, things that could be intercepted. And instead, they wanted to be able to communicate telepathically, because sure, that makes sense. They also wanted to train cosmonauts to be able to predict space disasters with their brain and like telepathy and ESP and all this other stuff, like spider sense. I don't know, this is crazy. They did some twin telepathy studies too. You know, you put a twin in one room, in another room, you poke one with a stick, the other one says ow, and you're like, oh my God, telepathy. The UK also partook in some official paranormal research with Project Condign, which dealt with UFOs and close encounters. To be honest, there's so many different examples of this that we couldn't pull together all of them. So any of you viewers out there that are not from the US or Russia or England, or if you are from those areas and we missed something, tell us down in the comments. Let us know what paranormal research that your country did that was awesome did we not talk about. We're just scratching the surface of literally taxpayer-funded, legit paranormal research. There are lots and lots of people who have been studying this over time. So here are some of the groups. Like there's parapsychologists. Parapsychologists study things like telepathy and precognition. Think like Bill Murray in Ghostbusters. UFOologists, who study the unexplained things in our skies. Sidebar, pretty much anything that you don't understand that's flying around is considered a UFO. So UFOs are real, so that, you know, it's important that you study them, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're aliens, you guys. That's like, you know, Fox Mulder, Dana Scully kind of things. There's cryptozoologists who study creatures that may or may not exist. So anyone who loves Loch Ness Monster or Bigfoot, you know, anybody on those Animal Planet shows, that's basically cryptozoology. And there's a lot of science dealing with the paranormal and the supernatural, and generally we kind of shove that in a little box that we call pseudoscience, because there are a lot of people who just don't believe in this stuff. But just because you don't believe in it doesn't mean it's not worth looking into with science. Many universities have done legit studies on all sorts of things that don't necessarily make sense. Some will conduct studies and others have whole departments that's all they do is look at this weird stuff. The University of Virginia's School of Medicine has a division of perceptual studies, which looks into things like past lives and out-of-body experiences and ESP and poltergeists. And there have also been numerous studies in well-respected universities outside of Stanford, which we've already talked about, like Princeton. They looked into ESP and telekinesis. UCLA did studies on haunted houses. Cornell looked at precognition, or the ability to predict events in the future. The University of Edinburgh looked at remote viewing and ESP using Twitter. This was recent. They even have courses that you can take there about searching for aliens. I wonder if they offer them online, because now I want to take one. The University of Adelaide in Australia studied if blind people could compensate for lack of sight by using psychic power. And even Carl Sagan thought that we should research the idea of reincarnation with scientific study. So you see, there are people putting money, serious money and time, into paranormal and supernatural research. This is just the tip of the iceberg, stuff that we could find in the last week. And I'm sure there are so many more studies that we did not mention. That's why we have a comment section. Tell us your favorites, because to be honest, we're kind of obsessed with this stuff now. It's really awesome. In all those studies, there has of course been a bunch of times where scientists look at the paranormal and find a completely rational and legitimate explanation for it. And that's what we're talking about tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe so you get all the episodes of D News Plus this week. Let us know in the comments if you have any paranormal research that we didn't cover that you think is awesome. Come find us on Twitter. You can find me at Trace Dominguez. And thanks for watching.